Spooky Tuesday. I want to make a toast. Thank you so much for bringing me on vacation. Cheers.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Dev. And this week we have another Chelsea movie, and we are doing 47 Meters Down. It is iconic. This is the second movie in a row that I have seen that you guys haven't, that I inflicted upon the two of you. Last week, Fear was a real winner. Not so sure how you guys felt about this week. There were some very anxious text messages I got while you were watching. What did you think?
I was very stressed.
Yeah. Remember how I had a blast and I was like yelling at the TV for Fear and I was like, wow, fun. Ha 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 ha. I can't say how different my experience was for this movie. It was just 2 hours of anxiety. Well, no, actually, luckily, it's only an hour and a half long. If it had been a single minute longer, it probably would have passed away.
I think it should have ended sooner. I think it should have ended sooner. It should not have been the hour. It should have been like an hour and 28 minutes, and be done with it.
That would be 3 minutes longer than it is currently.
Isn't it an hour and a half?
I thought it was an hour and a half.
I think it's like an hour and 25 minutes.
Okay, well, whatever it is, minus 3 minutes, and that's how long it should be.
It's an hour and 29 minutes per IMDb.
Okay.
I could lose a whole 30 minutes on it, because I was just so stressed out. I was just like, when will it end? When will it end? Checking the time over and over. I texted Chelsea and I was like, why is there 30 minutes left? At 30 minutes in, I was like, why is there an hour left? So I was just so stressed out. Not to say that this is a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. I mean, in some ways it is a bad movie, but it's not overall garbage trash can. It's just so stressful. It's the perfect way to make me very upset.
Yeah.
I love the ocean. Why do they have to take the ocean from me?
Okay, I will say I like the sci-fi shark movies way better than this movie because I feel like we get more sharks in these sci-fi ones. I feel like there wasn't enough shark in this movie for me.
Okay, interesting take.
I agree with you. I agree with you too. I like it when I like the really shit tier shark movies.
Sure.
Sharknado, for example, which is a fantastic film because it's so stupid the whole time. I can't get too scared of the sharks, This one was the 127 hours, or is that it? 127 hours of underwater movies. It was the same vibe, trapped in a box under the claustrophobia of that, which I don't experience claustrophobia usually, really got to me. And I will say I pride myself on being great in the water. I used to swim. My dream is to become scuba certified in the next calendar year. It's happening. And I'm not afraid of open water. And fuck you, Chelsea, because maybe none of those things are true anymore after this.
Okay, all right.
I guess open water actually is fucking terrifying.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure there is a shark movie called Open Water, so let's not get crazy.
I haven't seen that on purpose too.
Second of all, okay, if you haven't seen 47 Meters Down, or if you just need a reminder of the premise, the basic idea is that Mandy Moore and Claire Holt are sisters who, in the wake of Mandy Moore's breakup, decide that they're going to be fun, cool girls who meet cute guys in Mexico and go diving with the sharks. And they go on this rust bucket of a boat and they get in this rust bucket of a shark cage and they go into the water. And at first they're like, yay, cool, fun. And then the winch that attaches the shark cage to the boat snaps and they are plunged to, you guessed it, 47 meters down. And then they have to survive. And it's this whole thing. But the thing is that this isn't like Jaws, and this isn't like that Australian shark movie that you and I watched one time, Monty. And this isn't like a bunch of other shark movies where it's like things happen beyond their circumstances. This is like, don't illegally chum the waters.
Yep.
Don't get on a rust bucket of a boat that doesn't have any like official licensing or anything like that. Make sure you have your scuba certification. Do things through the proper channels, and this will not happen to you. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, this is a very scary shark movie, and they really tried to make it super realistic. But I also feel that they very carefully lay the groundwork for everything to happen the way that it does, in a way that makes it feel totally avoidable. You know what I mean? Like, this is never going to happen to me because I'm not going to ever do that.
It's another cautionary tale, just like, you know, 2 movies that everyone should see to learn about, you know, abusive boyfriends and, you know, what not to do in Mexico. It's important.
Okay, also, never get in a shark cage that doesn't have flotation device as attached to it.
Do they usually have that?
Yes. Yes. Have y'all never seen actual Shark Week? Come on.
Babes,
no,
I'm not going in a shark cage ever in my life.
But
I
I'm
don't
not
care
either.
about actual Shark Week. I only care about Shark 2 weeks.
Shark 2 week.
Sharky 2 weeks.
Sydney keeps trying to make Sharky 2's weeks happen. And like, honestly, she's swaying us.
Minute by minute, I go back and forth.
Minute by minute.
Right. But as somebody who has been obsessed with watching actual Shark Week, and they mostly replay the same things over and over and over every year, and then I will watch it for funsies on just streaming. Most of the cages have like flotation devices on it, like,
so
as
they
well.
Can't plunge 47 meters down. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Oh,
like,
amazing.
Yes.
I like that.
I still don't know that I would do it, but
I would do it. That's the thing. These are all things that I want to do. I want to be scubaing in fucking Mexico. I would do the shark cage, and now I'm like, no, I'll end up at the bottom of the motherfucking sea with an incompetent crew. Oh my god.
Well, also, like I said, don't chum the waters. It is illegal.
Oh, no.
And so again, the thing about shark movies a lot of the time for me is that obviously in literally any shark movie that's ever been made, sharks don't necessarily behave the way that sharks do in the wild, which is to say they're a bajillion times more aggressive than they are in the wild, including in this movie. But also in this movie, it's not just a crazy shark who decided to chase somebody like in that Blake Lively movie, The Shallows, or wherever, where it's just like, this shark sure is determined. It's like
a shark with a vendetta.
Yes. In this movie, it's like they threw chum in the water and they said, hey, sharks, here's where the food is. Like, you can't blame the sharks for being like, yes, here's where the food is. Yeah. Then people explicitly set up that situation.
No, totally. And also, like, just throughout, they are leaking a good amount of blood, you know. First the chum, you know, and that dissipates after a while. Then after they go bonk bonk at the bottom of the sea, Mandy Moore is somehow producing some sort of blood, maybe out of her nose.
Yeah, from her nose, and then it like clears later on. There's nothing, but whatever.
She clears the water out of her mask and then puts all the blood out. So there's more blood. Then, you know, everybody gets murked, and then there's a lot more blood then too, you know. Just a lot of blood. That'll get them going. That'll get them going. That's their whole thing. That's their whole thing with sharks, you know. But I also wasn't excited about, well, it was exciting, but I was not happy about the scale of the sharks. I like to forget about the scale of sharks versus humans. They're like, oh, this one's 20 feet long. Usually I see them 28 feet long. I'm like, that's too big. Sorry. It's too big. Oh, too bad. Canceled. Can't have that. He'll have to leave.
I was reading an article about like how like all of the inaccuracies in this movie, and they were just like, these sharks aren't going to get 28 feet long. Like, that's just like,
oh, thank God.
Oh, no, they're not. Like, don't worry.
Thank God. Oh, well, that makes me feel a lot better. Sydney, I hope that article can dissipate all of my dreams that have been broken with this film.
Yeah, I mean, tell us a couple more of the inaccuracies, because I would to hear them. Although I do know one from IMDb trivia, which is that just based on the amount of oxygen they have and the pressure that they're at, experts were like, realistically, they'd only have 15 minutes. And I think we pretty much see like a real-time play-by-play for the most part in this movie.
Yeah.
But it is certainly longer than 15 minutes that they're underwater.
That was one of the things that it said, that they probably would have gotten more injuries than just like the minor nosebleed. They would have had the flotation devices on it. They wouldn't have been able to have the like fancy communication devices like in the headgear. Like that's not gonna happen.
Note that I had. I was like, why are their scuba suits so high fucking gear, and then they have this absolute falling apart rust bucket of a cage?
Yeah. You know, they got it. Otherwise, there'd be no fucking movie.
Sure. That is
also,
true.
Like these masks, like not. I don't think that's a totally typical mask. Like usually you have like the fucking normal snorkel mask, not the one that shows off Mandy Moore's beautiful face and
her
shows
little
off
perfect eyelashes the whole goddamn movie.
I know her makeup stays so nice the whole time. Same with sister of unknown name. What's her name?
Claire Holt, Kate.
Claire Holt / Kate. Very beautiful woman as well. So thank God, you know, they had this modern mask technology where you could see their whole pretty face, but rare in the wild.
And then they were talking about like the sharks definitely would not behave like this. Even like they're like the chumming would make them more aggressive, but they wouldn't have followed them down into like the bottom of like
to the 47 meters.
Do like
they would have stayed up where the chum was.
What depth do they usually chill at? Did it say in there?
No, but I did have to Google how deep 47 meters was because I don't know that kind of shit. I think it's like 150 something feet.
Yeah, it was on IMDb, but I'm not sure. Oh yes, 154.2.
I have like no grasp of distance. That's like a thing that I deal with. I also like if I see a group of people, cannot tell how many people are there. I just like my brain can't do that kind of thing. And so seems
150 feet is like 50 yards, and so that's like half a football field.
Okay, that helps. Thank you. That actually helped.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's a long way. It's a long way. Also,
it's a long way, but also it is less of a way than 154.2 feet sounds to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's also up, so that's hard.
Also, okay, wouldn't going down that fast also fuck them up? Is the thing. They're like, if you go up that fast, it's gonna fuck you up. I was like, if you go down that fast, isn't it like pressure, like extra intense?
That's another thing. They said their eardrums would have busted going down that fast.
Thank you. See, I haven't taken my scuba course yet, but in a few months' time, we'll do a revision and I'll go in and I'll tell you everything I learned.
I mean, busted eardrums aside, I still understand them plunging to that depth and then being like, don't come up too fast. Because, well, if you've already got the bends, you don't want to have double bends, the much feared, you know, you've heard of it. You're terrified of it. Double bends. It's a real phenomenon.
The double bends.
When you get bends double.
Is when you die 2 times, essentially.
Yeah.
You die, then you die again. Sucks. Hate to see it. No one likes it. But yeah, okay. Just let's talk about the beginning of the movie before we go totally into shark zone for the whole rest of it, because it's 99% shark zone. But there's a little bit of time where you're like, ha ha ha, they're friends. At first, before I realized they were sisters, I was like, I know how it could be gayer. And then I was like, oh no.
Wrong. Sisters, and then it could go full softcore porn territory.
I know. I was really excited for that. I really thought they were just friends. And then I was like, oh no, it's very clear that they're sisters who just look nothing alike. And so that's fine. But I will say that Mandy Moore couldn't recognize her for the first 10 minutes of the movie because they wouldn't like show her face dead on. They kept showing the blonde Katie dead on over and over and over again. I was like, great eyebrows, I get it, but I'm like, who is this mysterious woman that I'm only seeing from the side? And maybe I was looking down every time they showed her face from the front, but seriously, it took me 10 minutes to be like, oh my god, it's fucking Mandy Moore. And like, you know, she's aging like a fine line. She's doing great. She looks great with a bob. happy to see her doing well in such a C-list movie. But also I really liked that they had a little love affair part thing at the beginning for the girls, that they got into this whole twisted fantasy after getting like going out to the club at 1 a.m. I thought that was fun. I was like, I would never do that. If it's 1 a.m. and I've been crying all night, it's over.
Right? That's not where
I
I want to
can't.
go. Like, I'm not going to spend the whole night crying and then be like, you know what? Let's go to the club. That's where I want to be right now.
Yeah.
That's what's going to comfort me. No.
I like the next night for sure, 100%. But if I had just spent literally like how many hours staring into the sea with tears streaming down my face, like that's a vibe switch that I can't handle. That's like the most extreme 180, but like good for her.
Mhm.
She's versatile. She is fun. Stuart or whatever the fuck his name was
Stuart.
can go fuck himself. He has no good thing if it slapped him in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to suspend some disbelief personally and be like, they didn't go out that night, they went out a different night. Also, because the timeline doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you don't even leave until 1 a.m. and they had to get ready, first of all, to go out, and then they meet two guys and then they're out with them all night, and then they're like, see you tomorrow, we're gonna sleep at some point, and it's still dark when they get home, and then like, what time
No,
is it?
it's
How
light.
much time has elapsed?
No, it was light. They stayed out until the next morning and the sun was out and they danced on the beach and it was the morning time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
There was a whole sexy, I'm dancing on the beach and it's the morning and it's like, oh yeah, baby, we stayed out all night till the daylight. Got to watch the sunrise. Beautiful. Beautiful. A great memory for them to
Oh,
share for the rest of their short lives. Did you black out for that part? Because I was like,
I
damn,
don't
that sounds
know.
so fun.
Maybe
That-
it
that-
must. Oh, yes, because my brain combined that first night out with when they meet up with the guys the next day.
Oh yeah, that's the next. That's later
yeah.
the same day, probably.
Because I just pulled up my notes and I see my OMFG ew Sandy feet in bed note. And so now I remember that they went to bed in between those two scenes.
Oh yeah, the Sandy foot scene, great, beautiful cinematic transition.
Hated
Wonderful.
it. At least the
must
feet
have
were
paid
hanging
her-
off the edge of the bed, though.
I hope they paid her more for revealing her feet.
Extra for a foot shot.
Yeah, it was like I was like, who directed this? Quentin Tarantino.
You know they're gonna be on celebrityfeet.com immediately.
Wiki feet. Oh man, well, I that's a good thing to note if we ever become famous actresses to have a feet clause.
Oh,
And-
yes. I thought you were gonna say to get our feet on WikiFeet.
No,
And I was like, no, Monica.
I want my feet on Wiki Feet.
I want to be paid for
Sydney,
my feet
I'm
to
sure
be on
someone
Wiki
will
Feet.
go on right now and put them on for you.
Good.
Good, great.
You truly, truly terrify me sometimes.
It's got to develop a whole foot fan base, like a fan base for her feet. It could be
Listen.
lucrative. It is lucrative. So
It
something to
is
consider.
lucrative. As
It's
somebody
super
who
lucrative.
has sold feet pictures before, that shit gets you paid.
Yeah, to be clear,
Paid.
I made it sound like I knew what I was talking about. I have deformed feet.
you are not the foot expert
I'm
on
not-
this podcast.
No, I don't think
And
many people
neither am I.
would want my feet. Sydney's the foot expert.
Someone else might be. Someone who just said that they sold feet pictures for lots of money.
It's Sydney. But anyway, what else happens besides feet in this movie?
She
It's like kind of
texts
the only thing
Stuart.
I noticed.
She texts
Oh,
Stuart and she's like, I'm having so much fun. Miss you, XO. And he's
Oh.
like, bye, I'm moving out.
I was like, oh, Mandy Moore, that's crushing. After you just had your girl night, victory night, dancing with the hotties, and then you just immediately text him. Oh,
And he says, she says XO, and he says, I've cleared out my stuff.
His name's Stuart. That should have been a red flag. Like, that's
Hate
not a
it.
name you want to
It's
be
not
like,
exact-
Stuart.
Ugh.
You
I mean,
know,
that speaks to it right there. I didn't even like hearing it.
kick Stu to the curb. Kick Stu to the curb.
And also, Stuart told her she's boring, which, like, fuck off, Stuart. But do you want to know something fun about Stuart that I'm going to loop back to later?
Yeah.
Apparently, per IMDb, there were some scenes at some point. I don't know if they ever got filmed. I know that they got cast at least, but there were some scenes that were going to feature Stewart, like show Stewart, and he was going to be played by James Van Der Beek.
What the hell? See, yeah, okay. I felt like the lead up in this movie, like to the underwaterness of it all, was very short. It was literally like
Yes.
15 minutes, and then it was the whole rest. They were in the deep blue sea or underneath the deep blue sea the whole time. And I was just like, please let me see the surface. I guess they do that on purpose so you feel like you too are trapped and under 47 meters of water or whatever. That's not really describe that anyway. I guess it worked. I guess it worked. So good job. But
yeah,
I
it's
would have
fucking
liked to see
effective as hell.
Stewart. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck. I felt terrible.
As somebody whose like biggest fear is drowning, and as somebody
Mhm.
who
Ugh.
went snuba-ing, like the little like hybrid snorkel scuba,
Where it's the
Yeah.
helmet that they like pump air into.
yeah, but you're
No,
like
yeah.
you're like you're wearing like a tank, but you're like, and you've got the regulator and stuff, but you like you're fully underwater, but you just like kind of stay under the surface.
When I
Okay.
did snuba, the
It
it's like
floats.
the tank floats above you, and then you're down below with the regulator, so you don't have to carry that weight because that's like a pretty intense feel.
I've done like where it's the helmet. You just have the helmet, but there's like a but I've done the like scuba adventure whatever thing where it is just like the helmet and then it's like attached to the tube that goes up to the boat on top, and they're just like pumping air in at such a rate that the water can't like come in because it's pushing in enough air to like fill up that space.
Oh,
Did
and
you
that's pretty
have
cool.
Did you have a panic attack? Because when I tried to do it, I flat out had a panic attack.
ooh.
No, but one time I did go swimming with stingrays and I could not handle it, and that was too much for me, which is why I know no shark cage is
Well,
out of the question because the
where-
stingrays
Well, so
couldn't do it.
so
Steve
if, like,
Irwin, R.I.P.
Yeah, after
So
Steve Irwin, no.
Nope. If we were like over here doing our
Uh-huh.
snuba, then like somewhere like over here, they were doing one of the like shark feeding things. And I was like, no, I can't see what's behind me. Are you kidding me? And I had like a full-blown
doesn't
panic attack.
Sanctioned.
No. And
That's
Did
I
you
seems
just
like
stay
you could
along the
do
ocean
that.
floor? I've heard if you stayed along the ocean floor, then sharks can't get you because they attack from the bottom.
Yeah, they attack from the bottom. Did you know?
No.
Yeah, they attack from the
They attack from the
bottom.
bottom.
I went back on the boat and just got a tan while everybody else
Nice.
did it. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay up here.
Nobody
No.
got eaten, but frankly, just that emotional stress is too much. It's not worth
No,
it.
yeah.
It'll age you.
But it was the emotional stress of this movie, I feel like, gave me wrinkles. I'm gonna have to do like a face mask or something to get rid of them.
I feel
Subscribe
that.
to our Patreon that we don't yet have and get Sydney a facial.
Yeah, she'll give you tips, skincare routine tips, and then you pay her to get a facial.
Oh
Sydney
wait,
will tell you all about her astrology, and then you can pay for her facial.
we'll
That's
trade
perfect.
feet pics for money
For Patreon subscribers.
Don't fucking imagine
Tier.
if that was
Oh
a real
my
tier
God.
on our Spooky Tuesday Patreon. It's like if you give, what would it have to be, Sydney?
Let's put $1 million.
Tell Sydney, what would it be?
Let's put $1 million and have it be feet pick tier, and no
I'm
one will
not
ever
my
ever
feet.
select
Still
it.
just Sydney's feet, not for me. Thank you.
The first time somebody ever paid me for feet pics was on the Red Line in Chicago, and a man gave me $300 cash for a picture of my feet.
Like to take
Damn,
one
we
right
love that
there, or for you
instant
to send him one.
Cash,
No, for me
non-cash
for
Said
him
app.
to
I like
take
how
one.
they look in this light right now. The
He
light
was
is
watching.
perfect.
He was watching me on the train the whole time, and as we got off, he was like, "This is gonna be weird, but can I take a picture of your feet?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "I have $300 cash," and I was like, "I'll take half
Yes.
of that before you take the picture and half of it now. And then I walked my happy ass home and was like, hey, Dad, guess what? A man gave me $300 for my feet pic. And he was like, good
And
for
your
you.
dad burst into tears. Oh no, of course he was like, good for you.
Wow, the
God,
differences in how we were raised just really shine so brightly sometimes.
the entrepreneurial spirit was alive in her at such a young age. Wow.
I was
Crazy.
18, so it was fine.
Yeah, that's true. A little adult making money.
Stop. I don't
I'm
want to
just
talk about
saying.
feet anymore.
Anyway, you brought it up. Anyway.
I did.
Yes, you did. You were like, "Oh yeah, the sandy foot," and then we're like, "Oh, foot? No,
Like
well,
5
this is actually a
conversations
foot pics
ago.
podcast
That was
now."
so long ago now. I've aged since then. I've moved on. I'm a different person than I was when that conversation started.
Okay, fine. Okay, another thing that was I liked a lot is that the men that they met were very, very hot, and that was great for them.
And nice.
They were very nice. They were very caring. They weren't just gonna leave them 47 meters down. Did everything they could, you know?
But even
and that was wonderful.
Claire Holt made out with her guy like right off the bat. And then Mandy Moore was feeling a little shy. She's still in the wake of her breakup with Stewart, who thinks she's boring. And so she wasn't ready at first. And he went to give her a little smooch, and she really curved him pretty hard. And he was, he should be nice about it. Men should always be nice about it, but it's always nice when they are nice about it.
Yeah.
And he was like very
chill.
sweet. And then he
And
got
then-
that kiss anyway, good for
Yeah.
him.
Being a good person pays off. Wow, shocking. But yeah, I mean, no matter how cute they are, once I saw that boat, I would have been like,
Gonna have to be a hard pass. Although they did
Ah.
say one of them, probably Claire Holt's boyfriend, guy, said, "What are you gonna do? Sit by the pool all day long?" And I was like, "Yes, bitch,
Yeah.
it is vacation. That's
Yes.
what one does on vacation."
See, I would totally do the shark diving thing, but I would do it with like people who have a license that they can show me that says I know what to do. And
Nobody
I would
has
be like,
died on my boat before. Yeah.
my boat doesn't look like it's already splattered in blood, but it's actually just rust, but it kind of looked like blood. And so alarming, ominous, a sign.
No, I'm gonna stay by the pool with the open bar and just have a good time. Tell me how it goes. I have no interest in
Yeah.
being
Denise, like,
in a
it
cage.
couldn't be
Yeah.
me.
Would never be me.
Truly, that's the thing. Again, the thing about this movie is it will never happen to you if you don't want it to. This is exactly the kind of situation. It's not like this is like Strangers or whatever, where the whole premise is like it could have happened to anybody. It's like this will never happen to you if you don't. I'm not gonna say let it happen to you, but there are so many choices you can just never make. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was no gun to their head being like, get in the shark cage. Like,
Yeah.
And here's the thing too.
Is
No
that
man is ever gonna break up with me because he thinks I'm boring. So that just irks this whole plot line off the map for me.
I will say, Mandy Moore did start to have some hesitation in this movie. You know what I mean? They were like, "Come swim with the sharks," and she was like, "I don't know." And they had to be like, "Don't worry, They said you're gonna be in a cage. You're only down 5 minutes. It's totally safe." And I put a little smiley face in my notes. And then later they were like, "I thought it was illegal to turn the water," and I put a little smiley face in my notes. And I did that every single time somebody said something where I was like, "Okay, give it 5 minutes." But Mandy Moore really started to freak out and be like, this boat looks like trash. Everybody on this boat seems very shady. They just asked if I know how to scuba dive. I very clearly do not. And nobody really cares. There are so many different times. And she tries to stick to her guns, but Claire Holt keeps being like, don't you want Stewart to think you're not boring? And it's like, first of all, Claire Holt, please leave her alone.
stop manipulating
Who
her.
cares what
Who cares?
Stewart has to say?
Yes. She says, you're not going to make Stewart jealous with photos inside a boat's bathroom. Okay, yes, obviously, but you can take photos on other parts of the boat where people can see the ocean behind you. You can make it, everybody knows how Instagram works. You can make it look like you're doing lots of fun things without ever doing a single fun thing. You know what I mean? It's the internet. It's not real.
And here's the thing, you know what's really gonna make Stewart jealous? Not cage shark diving. finding a richer man and just going on his yacht, okay?
Yes.
Like Ben Affleck and J-Lo 2.0 that shit, okay? That's gonna rile up
Precisely.
Stewart, okay?
Also, even that, like, Stewart does not care.
No, he
Stewart
doesn't
has
fucking
so
give a
emotionally
shit.
checked out. Stewart could
He
care
left the
less.
house.
Stewart's over it. Stewart's gone. Stewart's
Just
not coming back.
Doing things for Stewart after Stewart dumped you, what you're still doing things for him, and he's doing nothing for you. Like, don't nix him from the equation, baby. Go fucking be with your beautiful man, your long-haired man, and do it for you, not for some fucking asshole. It's like the movie, or like the movie, excuse me. It's like the Lonely Island song, I'm on a boat. And there's like a lyric about like, fuck idiots who aren't on a boat. It couldn't be me. That's not the exact lyric. It's exactly that. They're on a boat right now and you're having a wonderful time. Stuart's not there. Don't think about Stuart. He's on the shore like a little plebeian. Sorry.
Wow, I feel
Okay.
pretty insulted by someone who's not currently on a boat either.
I'm not on a boat right
but
now either. I'm going to find this exact quote and then I'm going
Look,
to say, and it's going to be
spiritually?
way better.
Spiritually, maybe I am on a boat. Spiritually, in this moment, I could be on a boat.
The lyrics are so stupid. There's like 2 references to people on the shore. It's take a picture, trick. I'm on a boat, bitch. We're drinking Santana champ because it's so crisp. I got my swim trunks and my flippy floppies. I'm flipping burgers. You at Kinko straight flipping copies. Yeah, it's really good. And then the other one is I'm the king of the world on a boat like Leo. If you're on the shore, then you sure not Mio.
That one's beautiful.
So that's exactly the vibe that she should be putting out there. Maybe say it a little differently, but like fuck you, Sturart. That's I can't don't even remember his name.
He's not
Forget his
even worthy
name.
of his name.
Forget his name. But it's just I mean, like, it's so hard to talk about the rest of this movie because they're just down there, man. They're just fucking
Yeah.
down there.
They're just
And it
down there.
just goes from bad to worse. But there's some bad bitch behavior that happens down there, though. Like, they do be resourceful.
Yeah, and they have some really good scares in this movie, I will say. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the way they do it is pretty good. And I love that first one when they drop the camera and then a shark just comes right up and eats it.
That was fucked.
Yeah, that's a good gasp for me, especially like right off the bat, but still safe. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fun gasp. It's like a relief of a gasp. And then obviously you know what kind of movie you're watching, so you know it's gonna get 1 billion times worse after
like,
that. But
you thought these were some little baby ass sharks? No.
But
No,
honestly, right
shit
then,
always.
yes, right then, that's the moment to bail because Claire Holt convinced Mandy Moore to do it by being like, think of the photos, and then they lose the camera. Like, the photos are gone. The motivation, gone. Take me up. I saw a shark.
No, that's exactly what happened.
I'm done.
Mandy
No, they
Moore's
wait for
like,
more sharks.
Yeah, well, like 5 seconds later, she's like, get me out of there. And then in the getting gone, they get fucked.
Yes, that's true.
You just win.
They could have gone up 5 seconds earlier. Probably wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, because the boat was just made of trash.
Oh, man.
This boat was so bad.
The first time I watched this movie was probably a few years ago. It was probably like 2018, not long after the movie came out. And I was just like in my bedroom at home, watching it on my computer. You know what I mean? So very much not like a cinematic theatrical experience. But it was like a blast and I didn't know where it was going. And the winch breaks the one time, then they get a backup winch, you know, and you're like, okay, finally. No, obviously the second winch also breaks. It's just like everything that could go wrong does go wrong is the thing about this movie. And that sucks so hard.
I know when it broke the second time, I was like, fuck you. I was like, fuck all of this. I thought maybe there'd be a part where like they get back up to the top and the sharks are just jumping out of the water, Sharknado style, trying to eat the captain, that kind of shit, and they have to shoot it or something. I thought they'd get out of the water. No. No. And also, like, I wish I had seen Javier's death, but I didn't because I closed my eyes. Was it cool? My eyes were closed, and then all of a sudden I saw like part of him go away. And I also don't understand logistically. Like, did he just drop his flashlight and that's why he didn't have it and it was somewhere else? I was sure she was gonna find his bit off arm.
Yeah.
I was picturing that.
Based on the fact that, okay, so if you haven't watched this movie, they're like 47 meters down. They've been dropped onto some cliff of some kind. So they're not on like the ocean floor necessarily, because we discover later there's like a huge fall off and it gets much deeper.
Oh yeah, fuck that part too.
Yes, but they're like on rock. So they're like on stable ground at that point. But they're like trapped inside the cage by the winch. They manage to get themselves out eventually in a very tense scene in which Claire Holt has to wiggle her skinny body through the bars of the cage and take off her tank and also her mask in order to fit through. But their transmission, the radio doesn't go all the way down to 47 meters down. She has to swim up to 40 meters to make contact with them. And Taylor is the captain of the boat, and he basically is just like, stay where you are, like go back to the cage. It's the safest place for you. Like, don't do anything, just stay there and we'll come back for you. He goes back down and immediately they hear the boat like leaving. And so they're like, well, fuck, like what? Are they leaving us behind? Would they do that? Could they do that? Like, what a fucking nightmare. But what I think must have happened is they must have been like, we have to send Javier down with the backup winch, which I guess they do have, but also it's trash. They have to send him down with the backup winch. They know they've just chummed the waters there. I think probably they must be like motoring further away so that he can safely go down and hopefully go under where the sharks are. I don't know exactly, but like they're hoping he can safely navigate. Yeah, they're hoping he can safely navigate away from the area they just made a little death trap.
Yeah, so cute.
A little death trap?
Just a small death trap. Look, only
death trap.
Only Javier died in the death trap technically. So
here's something
I would
else
say
to
small
consider.
Comparatively.
This boat is not anchored. This boat so okay. Just the reality of the situation. If this had actually happened, this is what would have happened. They would have been shot down to the bottom of the ocean, and then the boat naturally drifts away. So they send Javier down, and he's 5,000 leagues away from them. I mean, he already was pretty far away because you can't stay in the same spot, you know? And there's no way to mark it. It's the ocean, you know, and it's the fucking ocean. So they never would have been able to find them, and they just would have suffocated and died. That's what happened in real life. Maybe a shark would have gone over there too. But yeah. How are they like? There's no way. There's no visibility at all. They don't have GPS. They don't have magic GPS.
The ocean scares me so much.
Yes, negative space in a horror movie is always inherently alarming because it always puts you on edge looking for something in the background. But negative space in the ocean is truly fucking terrifying in a shark movie because you know that shark could pop up at any time, emerging from the dark. You know it could come from any direction, and you know it could go in any direction. And there's too many variables, frankly, when you show me a shot of the empty ocean. What was actually interesting about the shots of the empty ocean is they were never empty. They were full of broccoli, because all those little particles that you saw floating around, that was chopped up broccoli that they put in their little tank that they were filming in, because I'm sure they did not film in the actual ocean at one single point in this movie.
No, yeah. Because what if a real shark had come and done the same thing?
Can you imagine?
Okay, but also filming this had to have been horrible. Like,
yes,
no, thank you.
Mandy
all
Moore.
of the acting was fucking voiceover work, wasn't it? Didn't it have to be?
Probably.
Oh, I have no idea.
I was thinking about that too.
Actually.
While I was watching it, I was like, did they voice over all of this? Is so weird. Like they must have still
had the real radios and stuff in the helmets. Those must have been like what they were actually using, though, right? Don't you think? Wouldn't it be 1,000 times harder to have them perform and say the lines underwater and then also ADR the whole movie?
I don't know, just because like, will the sound quality be good enough in a helmet like that? Like, you know, with it possibly exposed to water, you know? I don't know. Movie magic, baby. We'll never know.
Movie magic. Anyway,
Mandy Moore. If I meet Mandy, I'll ask her.
Yes, but Mandy Moore, per IMDb. To replicate the organisms found underwater, finely chopped broccoli was added to the tank. Mandy Moore said it was quite unpleasant after a few weeks. She even compared it to filming inside a soup.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's pretty
Add
accurate.
a little carrots, a few carrots, and some onion. You've got a stew going, baby. What's
There's
that a quote
some sort
from?
of really horrible shark fin soup joke to be made right now, but I don't know how to make it and I don't support it and it's horrible. Anyway.
No.
Baby, you got a stew going is an Arrested Development reference. I just Googled it. I had to know. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's just filming in the tank. Apparently, they would, I mean, God knows when they would wake up and like go to makeup and stuff like that. But they would start filming in the tank at 8 a.m. and then they would finish filming in the tank for the day at 1 p.m. So still a shit ton of time in that tank. You know what I mean? That's 5 hours underwater.
No, yeah, imagine what that'll do to your little skin.
Can you imagine how pruny you'd get?
Yeah.
They must have made it hot in the tank so that you would not be having goosebumps the whole time. Once again, making you feel like you're in a soup, just like Mandy said.
Soup. Also, okay, one thing I will say though, great wetsuits, very cute.
Yes.
Must be. I literally was Googling what wetsuit did Mandy Moore wear because that's exactly
She
the one
asked
that I want.
if her butt looked cute in it. It sure did.
It really did. It really did. That's precisely the kind you want too, because it doesn't have the long arms and the long legs where you get stuck and you could fall over. Usually you're
Mhm.
naked underneath. So imagine falling over and you're ass naked and you're trapped in wetsuit. This is one of my fears as an aspiring scuba diver.
I've never been naked in a wetsuit.
A lot of times people are.
I mean, I
choice you
guess
can
the times that I wore them was when I was at like sea camp, you know what I mean? So they were all shared
Sea camp.
communal wetsuits. So
Yeah.
and they would be like, you can pee in it and make a little jacuzzi. So I'm sure, they're encouraging all the campers to pee in there.
Pee in
God,
their
that's so gross.
Yeah. They wash them. It's fine.
They hose
I
them
don't get
down.
worried about these kind of things. The
Yeah.
whole ocean is filled with piss.
That's
And
true also.
blood, apparently.
And
Shit.
fish sperm.
And fish sperm.
Yeah.
I love the ocean. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful
Nature,
bird.
but it's also so vast that anything significantly in there is like such a small percentage of the overall. You could never make it a full soup because there's just a lot going on.
It's already like a big fish stew innately,
Like a gazpacho because it's cold.
Like a gazpacho. Yeah. Like a chiappino kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. Delicious. Love it.
Delicious. I'm going for Italian after that. After this, so maybe that's what I'll get.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a rough go. Even in that moment, Kate comes back down from trying to communicate with Taylor, and Mandy Moore's just sitting there crouched in a little fetal position in the cage. And Kate comes back in and is like, what if we did some emotional bonding? Let's unpack some of our past trauma. And they just are like, you had everything in your life, and I only had one thing, and it was Stuart, and now I've got nothing. Which is just like, it's fine. It doesn't add or take anything from the movie for me. It feels realistic that in a life or death situation, I guess they would be like, this is the moment to say things. What else are we going to do?
Yeah, I guess. But I was like, shut the fuck and conserve your oxygen.
Right,
Are you
that's true
kidding
too.
me?
Like, don't talk. Like, you barely breathe. What are you doing?
Not at all. Speak 0%. Also, like, I get why the captain of the ship didn't send down air right away, but also, like, if your whole boat just fucking like blew up, and it from like one, it was just used the way it was supposed to be used, and the whole thing broke. Like, the likelihood of you're getting your shit together for the winch to get brought down to them in time for their air not to go like completely dissipate, like, it's not very likely, honey. Send them the fucking air and tell them about the nitrogen thing a little earlier, you know what I mean? So they're prepared for when their oxygen goes out. So it isn't literally the last possible second before Katie's air goes out that she's able to switch it. Like, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, and in that thing that I was saying about like the inaccuracies, they were talking
Mhm.
about how they depict the nitrous, whatever it is called, is not how
Nitrous necrosis or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
I
like
wrote it down.
that's not how that works.
Okay.
So I don't know how
Well,
it works, but they were like, this is not how it is.
Nitrogen narcosis.
Yeah.
Frankly, the thing is that sure, could we talk about the middle of this movie? I guess it's kind of the same stuff over and over again. Like,
No,
it's worth
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, but it's
There's
almost
no-
I almost just don't
There's
care,
not-
and I want to skip to
no.
the end.
Yes.
Because the end to me is so good.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
I
it.
agree. I was actually
Ugh.
irate. I was so mad. I was furious, but then I was like, oh man, I never fucking would have seen that coming, you bastards. And you set it all up. Like we had that conversation about
Yes.
twist endings where like it Friday the 13th, they didn't give you any bait. They didn't give you the information to be able to know what the twist could possibly be. So it didn't have that same dopeness to it. But this one I was like, they spelled it all out for us. And I still never would have gotten there myself. So
Exactly.
yes.
That's the thing. The first time I watched this movie, it's like in hindsight, it's not even like you have to watch it a second time to put the pieces together. It's like as soon as they reveal the twist, you go, "Oh my god, of course that's the twist." You know what I mean? It immediately hits you like they told me this was going to happen, and for some reason, I just thought movies have happy endings. That's not going to be the case here. But
No.
yeah, I
But
mean,
the whole
oh my god, because
the
they get the
whole
second
Rita.
winch, they pull
Yeah.
them up a second time, the second winch also breaks, drops them right back on fucking down. This time Mandy Moore is trapped with half of her leg underneath the cage. She's not going anywhere. It's all up to Claire Holt, and as soon as she goes to get the extra oxygen tanks, guess what? She gets eaten by a shark.
She gets
Yep.
fucking wrecked, shit wrecked. From what
Not
I
even
saw,
though is the
she
thing,
gets
because
like
she just
it,
gets like pulled off stage and you don't see anything, which is worse. But it also leaves
it looked like
space.
she got bit by her face. You know, that's what it looked
Probably
like.
did.
It looked
She
like they
probably
took her
did.
head, and so
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, it's all over." So but then there's like the like crazy reveal. Oh, she's still alive! Wow, it's amazing. And then with that kind of like hulky thing that happens with moms when they can lift the
This
car, and
fierce
their
desire
baby's
to
under
save
it.
her sister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mandy Moore
Moore's
got a
like,
great adrenaline rush.
I have an adrenaline rush
She's
that
got
went
the
straight to
beautiful
my
idea.
brain. It
She's
goes
got
straight to my brain.
the BCD. She pits it underneath. She inflates it. Like,
And the BCD is the thing that like you inflate it a little bit and it makes you go up. You deflate it, you go down. So she was like, "Oh, I inflated it makes the cage go up. My leg can come out. It's genius." Then there's that beautiful scene where she rips all the skin off of her fucking leg and I was like, "Great.
very ready or not.
Fucking loved that."
Very ready or not.
Oh yeah.
A clear
Totally.
reference, except this movie came out first.
Yeah. That and then also the part when this was just before, but when she was using the spear gun to try to get the oxygen, and she like is pulling it towards her, and she fucking detonates it. I was like,
She cuts
she's gonna shoot
herself.
herself in the face. I thought she was gonna spear herself in the face, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's game over.
She
But, you know,
shoots
thank
herself in
God.
the hand and that blows, but also the way it could have been 1 billion times worse.
Oh,
And
yeah.
honestly, at that point in the movie, I had asked myself, like, would I prefer to suffocate on the bottom of the ocean and slowly drown? Would I prefer to just get, like, we always talk about the will to survive in horror movies, and so often the three of us are like, couldn't be me, couldn't do it. I'd give up. The thing is, in this movie, giving up almost seems worse. You know what I mean? It almost seems like the worst option to run out of oxygen at the bottom of the ocean than it is to just get eaten by a shark, which maybe feels like it would be fast at least. You know what I mean?
I don't think it would be fast though, is the thing, because they're like, it's not like they're gonna swallow you whole. And if they
Right.
swallow you whole, like you kind of might gonna be still alive in there for a little bit. That's weird. And you drowned inside the shark.
All of a sudden, this is
And
Pinocchio.
they're not that big. Yeah, it's like Pinocchio vibe. And also, like usually they just like rip off one of your limbs and then you bleed out.
Oh, Jesus.
And you
But
drown.
yeah, I mean, I was asking myself that question, which one is better? And then she cut herself with the harpoon, and I was almost just like, do you just harpoon yourself?
Also,
Do you just harpoon yourself and that's the way it ends? And is that better? You know what I mean? Like, because, I mean, we see the ending of this movie. And so, spoiler alert, we know that Mandy Moore makes it out. But But honestly, even though they say like you're going to be okay, like is she? I don't know.
The psychological damage will carry with her for the rest of her
Psychological
life.
damage, but also like the brain damage from oxygen deprivation and the nitrogen bubbles in
Yeah.
her brain. Like he said, like 5,000 times in this movie, they say like if you get nitrogen bubbles in your brain, you're dead. And I'm pretty sure you're not dead because I'm pretty sure I saw an episode of House where somebody got the bends on an airplane because they had been scuba diving before they got on the airplane. Not that that is
And
the most
House is
medically
true. Yeah.
yeah, not but as
So
we all know, it's based on a medical
real
reality somewhere in
science.
this universe.
It's like
So
how
I
The
don't think
Conjuring is based on real events. Okay, like come on.
The Conjuring is based on real events. Anyway, look, Christianity is real, Monica. How dare you?
Wow.
But
I'm not ready for this conversation.
I'm also not ready for this conversation. I'm pivoting back to, yeah, I don't think the bends are an automatic death sentence, but just given how bad it was, he says you're going to be okay. I think maybe that's just a nice comfort. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
no.
true.
Just saying it to her
I
to make her calm down so she doesn't do the panic breathy thing and then run out of oxygen even faster, you know? So
I didn't like the ending of this movie.
You
Oh
didn't?
no,
I
it was so
didn't.
good.
No, like
Why? What went
End
wrong?
okay.
What
sucked,
didn't
but
work
the
for
middle
you?
end was so good.
Okay, so there's two things that I think could have done it better for me.
Okay.
So when she and her, sister get back onto the boat, like she's been this like boring, weak person. Know what I mean? Like that could have been like a huge thing, like where they made it and they did all this stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, like a really kind of like character defining moment for her. We
Mhm.
don't get that. And then when we realize she's having these hallucinations and she's still underwater, that's where it should have ended. With just the realization that she is under the water still, end movie. I think either one of those two, I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, I could see that. It would be so bleak though if she just fucking dies though down there
Well,
forever.
but that's the thing. We
but
don't
that's
know
almost
what would happen. And so that like, do they come back?
yeah.
Do they save her? Like it would like I either wanted the character development, the good one, or the like, oh my God, what happened to her
The
ending.
Yeah,
absolute bleakness
feel
of
you.
nothing.
And
feel
I
you.
got neither of those.
I
They
just think
split the difference and it wasn't
they
for you.
split the
You
difference.
you wanted one or the other.
the
I
twist,
wanted an extreme.
I just think the whole sequence of events of the twist was just pretty fucking good. Like, let me be clear. I had a horrible time this entire movie, but I was like, but I was impressed because like the scene when they are this, I just thought this was really good when they finally get out of the cage and she finds Kate and Kate's gotten her leg all bit to shit and she's bleeding like fucking crazy. And so they have to start going up or like it's all over. And then they have to fucking wait. They have to wait for 5 minutes. That part was so good. And the flares go out. Kate drops the flare. I'm like, don't give the woman who is bleeding out the very important job, okay? Like, give her a break. She's barely alive. She's lost pints, quarts, gallons. I don't know, many
So much blood.
things of blood all up in the water. Sharks are everywhere. But I love that it goes completely dark and they finally turn on a flare and the shark's mouth is fucking like around their head essentially already. That was
There was three sharks. There was three sharks right around them. Was
They're
there?
completely surrounded and they
Yeah.
all like basically had their mouths over their limbs like
I
already.
know.
And does that flare thing work? Is that real?
I don't know. The spooked them. I feel like they wouldn't like that. I don't think
wouldn't
know
like
a
it,
single
you know.
shark who would like that.
Shine a really bright light in my face and I'll also go, hey.
Yeah. If you punch him in the face, I heard that works pretty well.
I saw that episode of Hey Arnold.
It works. It works. But
Punch
that
him in
was
the nose.
brilliant. And then they like finally get up to the surface, and then
And even then, there's
hear
so
them
much of the back and
screaming.
forth still. Yes.
and then they fucking get like ripped up 40 different times, pulled off the boat while they're trying to get pulled up there. And then, okay, like this was a little bit of overkill, but it was super fun to see Mandy Moore rip that shark's eye out. That was
Mhm.
fucking ridiculous.
But that's what I was saying. Like, if she would have done it where, like, sure, her legs gets bit, but like she rips an eye out, she like fought to get her sister, like she would have had like a great character development. Like, Stuart could never, like, get fucked, Stuart. Like, look at me, I'm not boring. I just beat a fucking shark. No,
I just ripped the shark's eye out of its fucking face. Like,
But, like,
come at me, Stuart. But we're
but
not doing this
instead,
to Stuart,
like,
remember, Sydney?
but she's got now a dead sister and so much trauma, and I'm just like, ugh.
But it's
I
just
don't know.
like
I
that
just
moment with the blood
yeah.
coming out of her hand and flying in the sky, and I was like, "Oh, now she's having is the end of the movie that she has brain damage and she got that like nitrogen thing?" And I was like, "That's sad and a weird choice." And then I was like, "Oh, it's so much worse than that."
Word.
Talking to
Yeah.
herself, and Katie died like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I just think Sydney, I totally take your point, and
Yeah.
I understand for like the emotional payoff that you wanted the character development to A, be real, or B, the movie commit to being as bleak as it possibly fucking can. For me, I just felt like this is one of the best movies to pull off a twist, I think, because the groundwork is laid so well in a way that's not obvious, in a way that isn't, for me at least, too heavy handed. Like, you can like it or not like it, but I think the way that it's done is effective in not spoiling itself, because you're so conditioned by shark movies to think that that's not going to happen. And then it does happen, and you have nobody to blame but yourself for being surprised because they told you. Like, I wrote down all of these quotes. You know what I mean? There's a quote where it says, you're only going down about 5 meters. It's unlikely at that depth, but if you get any pain in your ears, you just need to equalize. Like, here's how you equalize. Just remember, the faster you breathe, the faster you use up your air. Relax. And then they lay all of this work down. Where they say, like, don't try to race to the surface. You'll get the bends. Just stay in the cage and reserve air. Do you know what the bends is? It's nitrogen bubbles in the brain. The only way to go up is to ascend slowly with a decompression stop for 5 minutes, unprotected in open water. Keep as close to the ocean floor as you can, blah, blah, blah. He says, Kate, there's a reason I didn't send down the extra air tanks before. Moving on to a second tank is going to increase your chance of nitrogen narcosis dramatically. You're going to need to watch each other closely to make sure that neither of you is behaving strangely or hallucinating. I've notified the Coast Guard. They're sending a team that's fully equipped for deep sea rescue. They'll be here in less than an hour. Like, they're telling you everything that's going to happen, essentially. And just for some reason you go, no, it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be okay.
It's never gonna be okay. Oh my
Of
god.
course it's not gonna be okay.
There's like
First of all, I think that line is
sharks
so
all around.
funny because they throw in the hallucinating almost as like, you know, just a one-off mention, because your brain, at least for me, fixates on the behaving strangely, and you go, is there a normal fucking way to behave 47 meters down in the ocean when you are trapped in a cage and there are sharks all around you and you're bleeding and your sister has been eaten by a shark halfway already and they've chummed the waters, and so the sharks are not going to go anywhere, baby, they're nearby? Like, there's no fucking normal way to behave in that situation. And then you almost forget the hallucinating part. And then of course the whole fucking escape is a hallucination. Of course she could not use her BCP to free herself magically from underneath the cage. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, of course she was not actually able to do any of all that. Those are impossible feats to ask of anyone who is already oxygen deprived down at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
It just, you know, it's they are dropped down. They get a second winch. They're pulled back up. They're dropped again. They swim to her sister gets eaten by a shark. She finds her sister. They start to swim to the surface. They're almost eaten by 3 sharks. They have the flare. They get to the top, attacked by sharks again. They keep getting pulled up. Finally, they're on the boat. Like, they go through so much, and then they didn't even go through half of it. They didn't even go through half of it.
Fucking horrible. But I agree with you. It is a very well executed twist. It's almost as good as the twist in The Boy, but not quite. but not
No.
quite, because the twist doesn't reveal that Brahms was actually hot the whole time. You know, the twist doesn't reveal that the shark's actually a hot dude or something like that. It's not that. It's that.
It's
And
just
also,
a hot dude in a shark costume.
It's just a hot dude in a shark.
It was a person. All
It's been their
along.
boyfriend the
From
whole
Steelshire,
time.
underwater.
It was Stuart the whole time.
It was Stuart, like, ha
Oh my
ha.
Wow. Wowie.
Yeah, but what a movie! What a movie!
What a movie.
What a movie! Thanks, Chelsea.
I like it.
Oh, it's just
it
the
so much
perfect
that
thing
I
to make
saw-
me so upset.
I like it so much that I saw 47 Meters Down uncaged in the theaters because I was like, I must see it on a big screen because I know it's going to be fucking insane.
Yeah, and it is. And it fucking is.
But we'll get to that in a few minutes.
But okay, so the age-old question, and this is a hard one. How could this movie be gayer? We don't have a lot of characters here, and the two main girls are sisters.
I mean, this movie could be gayer by making Stuart a woman.
That's true.
Or we don't know. I mean, Stuart's sex, but Stuart could be trans and just never on screen. There's nothing to suggest anything about Stuart's gender identity or biological sex or anything like that. We just hear
That's
Stuart
true.
and he, him pronouns. And that could be anywhere on the non-binary spectrum or trans spectrum. But again, Stuart does suck. So not necessarily the representation the queer community is looking for.
Also, like, Mandy Moore seems pretty straight, but
She is
okay.
truly the straightest character we have seen so far.
So
Yes.
straight. It's just like it's
Okay.
hard to imagine anything with her.
She could be gayer if we rewrote the movie to be
Yeah.
gay. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
We could
yeah,
change it.
If we change the whole movie and her whole vibe, yeah. But that dress she was wearing, that vacation dress, I was like, this is the straightest vacation dress. I was
It's
like,
a very straight woman.
up,
Yeah.
honey.
Kate though, Kate bisexual queen.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
100%.
for sure.
Kate's
Kate,
great.
I bet is pansexual specifically. I bet Kate is like that's her preferred label for sure.
Yeah, I feel that. Yep.
Ooh. Did they ever use pronouns for the sharks? We could have some
Something
non-binary
You
sharks here.
consider something you consider. Sharks are beyond gender, so
Exactly.
they're
That's inherently non-binary.
Shark society has moved past gender. Okay, they're a bit
Yeah.
more advanced than us. We're just 10 steps behind, probably 25, 30 steps behind shark culture, and it's something to aspire to.
But one of the hot boyfriends could have been like a hot trans guy. You know what I mean? That would have, and then with Kate being a pansexual queen, that would have been iconic. You know?
I would have been cool too. Also, like,
Ooh.
who's to say that those men who played him weren't bisexual men? I get that vibe from any one of them.
Gorgeous.
There are only
Love
two.
this.
I like that for either of them. I don't want Matthew Lillard to be hurt by a shark, but if we aged him up, I feel like he could have been a great boat conductor.
Taylor?
Boat
No.
conductor. Cappy
Matthew
top.
Lillard is the hot guy in The Shark.
He's the Brahms Skillshire of the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay.
I mean, once again, Stewart never made it into the movie in any kind of visual representation. So also, instead of James Vanderbeek, Matthew Lillard could have been Stewart.
Yeah, I feel
Yes.
that. I could see that. Him
And
Mandy Moore
perhaps
together.
he dumped Mandy Moore because she was so boring because he met three very cool ladies who have a horror movie podcast. Who knows? Like, who knows? Like, maybe she is boring. Maybe she's boring as shit. And he said, I met three very exciting ladies who happen to be big fans of me.
Yeah.
And he bounced.
And who can blame him?
Who can blame him? But yeah, I do think Matthew Lillard would be a great Taylor. I think
Yeah.
you're right on that one. That would be fun.
I could see him with like a little beard. He would have worn the captain's hat though. And
Yeah.
been very excited about that. So
That's
maybe a
the
corn
thing.
cob
I
pipe.
feel like he'd be better in a different shark movie, you know what I mean? Where he gets to be the captain of a boat in a more fun way.
Yeah.
That said, that's not true. I was gonna say I will never turn Matthew Lillard down, but there have been some movies where we've been like, perhaps they're perfect as is. But Matthew Lillard could be Taylor. He could be Taylor.
So I feel like dumb bitch is like written in the stars, Mang. like the whole movie is about a dumb bitch, and her name is her name Katie? I keep forgetting.
It's Kate.
Kate.
Kate. It's fucking Kate, not even a Katie. Kate, honey. She
No.
couldn't have known, but also there were a lot of red flags, and she was just trying to be too much of a cool girl, fun girl. You know what I mean?
We could nominate the boat captain to be the dumb bitch who should have taken one look at his boat and been
Oh.
like, this doesn't seem very safe. And I didn't check if they actually have scuba diving licenses or whatever.
Also,
he's
Javier's
pretty dumb.
Javier's an ass.
Javier also a
Yes.
dumb bitch.
Fucking asshole. So like when he died, I was like, cool. I mean, I didn't even see it also because I had my eyes closed, so I like barely knew it happened.
But Javier is the one in the beginning who was like, hello, Mr. Shark. Can you hear me, Mr. Shark? Oh, I guess they don't hear above water. Like,
He was
so
being a
that's
dude.
rude bitch behavior.
Rude,
I
and
guess it's not
Andy
necessarily-
dies. But so does
Andy
Kate.
dies. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
a
I
die.
mean-
Is dumb bitch behavior. So like that also goes to Kate as well.
True.
Yeah. Because fucking Kate, she also like pressures Mandy Moore so
Mhm.
much, and I'm just like, girl, it makes it all about Stuart, which I said already. We're forgetting Stuart. We're not doing things for Stuart anymore. Stuart's not doing anything for us. He probably didn't even clean the flat after he took all his stuff out. Probably left dust bunnies aplenty.
I bet
Oh,
he
yeah.
let the toilet seat up.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, of course he did.
Fuck Stuart.
Should it be Stuart? Can we make it Stuart?
It's
Don't
Stuart.
dump Mandy Moore. She may be
They
boring,
wouldn't
but
even
don't
be
dump
on
her.
this trip.
How dare you,
Actually, that's-
Stuart? Stuart, get out of here.
Get out of here. I was going to say they wouldn't even be on this trip if Stuart hadn't been a dumb bitch. But that's not true. I think they were going to all go on the trip together.
Stuart would have been on
Yeah,
the trip,
yeah,
but he would not have had them going out late at night in Mexico and meeting men who then offered to take them on this shitty boat. You know what I mean?
That's true.
If they had gone diving with the sharks, it would have been through something they booked through the hotel, like Mandy Moore said, because she's very type A and straight laced, and he would have been
Very
nagging
type
her,
A.
but she would have been like, no, I'm more comfortable doing
No.
blah, blah, blah. And they would have lived at least. You know what I mean? Would it have been a boring vacation? Maybe, but perhaps this one was too exciting.
A little.
Just maybe. This one was a little too exciting.
Yeah, well, it ended in the death of Kate. So I feel like that's a little bit too much excitement for me for a vacation.
Okay, but also, how is Mandy Moore going to explain this to their parents?
I think she's gonna be
You're
like,
like,
it's just
Kate.
classic Kate, you know,
Classic
Kate.
Kate, she led us to our deaths, to her own death.
You know, Kate, classic.
Oh,
By the
Kate.
way,
Kate.
me and Stuart broke up.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Oh yeah. They're not gonna care about that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so it's
I-
Kate. It's
No, I don't want it to
It's
be Kate.
Kate.
It's
It's Kate.
Stuart. Come on.
No.
not Stuart. It's not Stuart. It's
She's
Kate.
mostly trying to be a good sister. Mostly. She's bad at it, but she's trying.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of dumb though.
Mm-hmm. It's Kate, honey.
Okay.
I'm sorry, baby.
Okay, I give up.
It's Kate.
Fine,
All right.
you win, and I'm sad.
And that leads us to our knives out of fives. And Chelsea, should you go first? Was setting the scene just so maybe you
Here's the
should.
thing. Yeah, I think this movie gets a tough shake from critics. On
Yeah, I peeped
IMDb,
it.
yeah, on
It was
IMDb
pretty.
it has 5.7 out of 10, which kind of seems fair. But then on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 52%, which is rotten from critics. And then audiences liked it even less. They gave it 35%, which is really rotten.
Oh.
Which is like sucks because I think it's pretty well done for what it is. You know what I mean? That said, do I think it's like an amazing movie? Do I think it's an art house cinema? Do I think it's I was gonna say, do I think it's a must watch? But I kind of maybe do think it's a must watch because it's insane. For me, do I think it's good? Not in the traditional sense. But I also really like it. I think it's really fun. I think it's really anxiety inducing in a fun shark movie way. It's like, for me, this is one of my favorite shark movies because It keeps my attention the whole time. It keeps me on the lookout. I've tried to watch another shark movie recently in the last few months, and I just kept pausing it and getting distracted and doing other things. Like, it didn't hold me the way that this movie holds me every single time.
Caresses me.
Makes me feel held.
Does this movie make you feel held? I'm sorry.
It does, though, is the thing. And then again, I think the ending slaps. So for me, hard to give it too high of a score just because it is what it is. But I would give it like a
Go with your soul,
like a
babe.
3.78 knives out of 5s.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there was a few times in your review where you called the movie fun. And
Because the ending is so insane.
the
But
ending
it's not fun.
the ending is awesome. I just said I agree with you on that. We talked about it ad nauseum, but okay. I had no fun during this movie. 0% fun, except for at the beginning where I was like, "Ah, man, I want to go to Mexico." Like that, like I was like, "That sounds fun," but like the rest of it, it was just stressful, stressful, stressful. And I think the thing for me is like the trapped kind of movie really fucks with me. I don't like that shit. Also, it brought up all the realities of my new future hobby, and how it can kill me, which there are already so many ways that I'm just going to learn from the course about how it's going to kill me. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, there's also giant, like bus-sized sharks that can eat me at any moment too. So yeah, I mean, I liked that Mandy Moore was in it. That was a big plus. Couldn't really see her much though during the film, so
Except her eyelashes.
her eyelashes were really nice. It was great mascara, but really waterproof, so that's really good. And I
Well,
would like to know what she used.
It didn't actually go in the water very much.
That's true. That's true. So fuck that. Even wow, you're not helping. You're not helping anything here, Chelsea.
Sorry.
But yeah, the twist was great. Well set up. We love to see a well set up twist. Excuse me. But I can't give this higher than a 2.8888 repeating just because I had no fun at all. Like, let's talk about like Fear. Also, not the greatest movie ever made, but I had a fucking blast. Do you know what I mean? I like to have
Yeah.
fun. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. That was a quote from Tim Heidecker's podcast. Anyway, but I did not laugh. I did not have fun. I did yell, and then my friend who sang with me came in and checked on me, and he's like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Terrible!" every time he came in. So sorry, but I'm glad I watched it.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, Sydney. All right. I'm braced.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm ready.
I love shark movies, but I like this movie can never compete to Santa Jaws. Okay, the 2000.
Oh, sure.
Santa Jaws.
Sure. Of course.
masterpiece.
That's not a question. That's not on the table.
No, they're not even on the same
No.
playing field.
And so that's the shark movie that I compare all shark movies to. And this one just
That's a different genre.
well, here's my thing too.
They're
Like
tangentially related.
I liked there's a lot of shark in Santa Jaws. There's not enough shark in this one. It's more like the anxiety of like being underwater and like being in a cage and just like being trapped. And oh yeah, I guess if you try to go out, like you can't because there's sharks. Like not my cup of tea. I want more sharks. I want sharks to be involved. I want sharks to be the main character in a shark movie. So
Sure.
I'm gonna give this a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh, that's so much better than I braced myself for. I thought it was going to get really grim for me for a second there. That said, guess what? You have to do it all again next week because next week we are doing 47 meters down, uncaged. And once again, uncaged, which really just means it is also a shark movie and they're not in a cage this time. That's the only similarities.
It's completely unrelated.
Yeah. The only similarities are that it is, I guess, from the same production team and also it has sharks. And I think
and
also they're in
also-
Mexico.
And also, there's no fucking cage, man. So the one thing that was protecting them, it's gone, baby. It's gone. Up the
Um,
ante, up the stakes.
Yes, but I saw it in the theaters with one of our spooky friends from our OG spooky crew, and everyone, it was like not that many people in the theater, but everyone in there was like having a blast, like very reactionary to what was going on the screen, was really enjoying themselves. So I hope that you also enjoy it. Monica has seen it. Sydney, I don't think you have. I would
Aiden?
say
Is Aiden from Sex in the City?
yeah, yes. Yes, I think it is more fun, frankly. I think it's
Okay.
more fun than you say this movie's not fun at all. Fair enough. That movie, I think, is fun.
Is this not the movie that started the original Spooky Crew? It is.
Yes, it is technically. Because you
This
texted me one
started-
night
This started it all. Yeah.
and you said, "Do you want to watch a scary movie tonight?" And I said, "Sure." Should we invite other people? And you were like, "Okay." And we invited like 2 other people came from our. Sydney wasn't even there yet.
I was not invited.
And I really was convinced for a long time that you were, and you were like, "No, I wasn't." And then I had to go
Nope.
back and check my records, and in fact, you were not, and I
I was
apologize.
I'm not even a true OG. I'm kidding. It's not your fault.
It's my fault. And I'm
It's
sorry.
not your fault.
But yeah, I mean, this is technically in its own way the origin story, and also it is insane and a blast. And it's one of those sequels that's like, Aiden is in it, but he's really the only real star on the scene. Everybody else is like a Nickelodeon star or like the relative of an actual celebrity. And it's just a blast. It's just a blast.
I'm ready.
We're pulling out all the stops for Shark 2.
Pew, 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 pew. Sharky 2 weeks, baby.
Sharky 2's week.
Sharky 2's week.
Shark 2 week. Sharky 2's week. Shark 2 week. Sharky 2's week. Sharky 2's week.
So for the next episode, you're cutting out the Spooky Tuesday theme song, right? And you're going to play that?
Yeah.
Good,
100%.
good. Perfect.
I
Anyway,
am a professional singer.
See, if you like the podcast and also like the beautiful sultry sounds of our singing voice, you should give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Give us 5 stars for the vocal support.
Yeah, seriously. Like we sang in the last episode, Chelsea just made an original composition off the dome. Like, wow. And if you like that, just imagine what would happen if you followed us on social media. The limitless possibilities. Oh my God. At spooky_Tuesday on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I forgot the third one. And follow us at Spooky Tuesday Pod for Facebook and Tumblr. I forgot everything I've ever known. Goodbye.
Give us 5 stars and she'll remember next episode.
Yeah. Give us 5 stars. I'll practice.
Bye, Spooky.
Bye.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.
Oh, we made it. We made it.
Please hear me. Lisa, listen. After my voice.
We made it, Kate.
Lisa,
My VCD got me free.
it's me. Nitrogen narcosis. You're hallucinating.
We made it, Kate. We made it.